Welcome to the video bulletin for Friday the 16th of October. I'm standing here in front of the Titanic Memorial here at the pier head, and that sense of foreboding for the future is here prevalent amongst us as we enter into the Tier 3 regulations. Tier 3 regulations don't actually have any direct impact on the worship of the church, and so I do encourage you to keep coming if you're able, but also to keep reminding yourselves of the restrictions which we're under. And in church that means that we continue to be distanced, to wear face coverings, we continue to ensure that we don't mingle in different households, and that we remain as COVID secure as possible. As you know, we take part in the test and trace process. There's the app to scan yourself in, and there is plenty of hand sanitizer, enough to set light to your neighbour if they get too close. So there's lots that we can do to keep safe, and that we will remain doing. As we come out of church at the end of the service, we must make sure, again, that we stick to the rules on household mixing, so that we don't get too many people greeting each other before we move on. Church life continues there, and there is a lot going on. On Wednesday, we announced our new organist, who will begin after Christmas as Dr. Wrightson stands down and Ian Wells joins us, and that's going to be a very exciting time in the life of the church. When Jim became our organist a few years ago, he was already a part of the congregation, and so it is in fact 49 years since we appointed an organist from outside. The city is in need at the moment, and we see around us both those in direct need and also fear and anxiety, and we need to continue to do what we can to address that. And at the moment we're working centrally on a number of different areas, including homelessness, but the food bank remains one of our principal ways that as a congregation we support those most in need, those very often who've arrived in Liverpool and have no food. So please do keep giving to the food bank. Every week Father Fergus meets someone from the congregation, and this week he meets a very familiar face as he talks to Christine.
Okay. I'm joined this week by another member of our congregation, by Christine. Christine, hello. Thank you for joining us. Tell us a bit about yourself and your links with St Nick's and that sort of thing.
Okay, well, I'm Christine Hill. I think probably most people know me, but for some kind of new members of the congregation might not. So I'm Christine. I live in Allerton. I've been coming to St Nick's on and off probably for about the last 8 years. My kind of connection started a conversation with Louis, who many in the congregation kind of know. Kind of when out of the blue, he said to me that he wanted to go to church. And he'd been having some conversations with Bob Lewis, and he'd suggested possibly St Nick's might be a good fit. So kind of a little taken aback, and kind of sort of more, I think probably most people who know Louis know kind of he has a very flexible approach to timekeeping. And my understanding was that the services were at 9:30 on a Sunday morning, which the morning service then was. Yeah. And I just knew there was no way he was going to be able to get there on time. So I kind of sort of made out, certainly for the first few months, that I was just there as a taxi driver, and to a certain extent to facilitate Louis getting there on time. But actually kind of after a few months I kind of thought, actually no, there is something in this for me, and I kind of really valued the time and sort of the space that kind of going to St Nick's kind of offered really for me, just to reflect on what was happening in my life at the time, you know, kind of and more broadly. So kind of since then really I've been part of the congregation, involved in different things, tea and coffee rota at one time, on the PCC.
And you confirmed last year, 2 years ago? Time flies when you're having fun, but it was
confirmed 2 years ago. So and I've been involved in kind of various heritage roles at the church as well. So a real mixed bag.
And that links with what you do in your sort of day job, doesn't it? So tell us about that.
Yeah, not as much perhaps as quite I would like, but there is a definite link. Yeah, no, I work for Homes England, which is the government's housing agency, and I've been there for the last 11 years, done that various roles on and off, but I currently work in the affordable housing team, where I work with housing associations, developers, contractors, to kind of basically bring forward viable housing propositions which will deliver affordable housing. And my background is that I studied history at university, so I've always been really interested in the history and the heritage of places. I studied medieval history and early modern history, specifically looking at the development of towns and cities. So that connection to kind of places and making sure that kind of there is a good quality provision of housing for people in those places, and that the housing connects to all the stuff that we need to live our lives, is really important to me. So kind of I've been in this specific kind of role, or in this specific team probably for the last four years. Yeah.
Great. Well, we don't know what's going forward, what situation whether we'll see you. Obviously, worship carries on, and the music and things carry on. I know you and Louis, of course, very musical and have appreciated the music at St Nick's especially. But what form that takes, we don't know. But when we see you, it will be a delight to see you. And thank you so much for talking to us today. It's a delight to be able to introduce you to the wider congregation, as I say. When next time you're in church, say hello to Christine. Who knows when that will be? But we'll thank you so much, Christine. It's lovely to speak to you.
Thanks, Fergus. Good to see you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Behind me is RFA Tide Surge, which is a Royal Fleet Auxiliary ship, a great metaphor for the work that we all need to do in supplying the needs of the people around us, just as the ship supplies the Royal Navy. And some of that meeting of need that we do is through our worship on Sunday mornings. So this Sunday, the Parish Eucharist is at 10 o'clock. During the service, we shall baptise the youngest member of our congregation, Marianne Gentile. We also have St Nicholas Singers providing music for us. The mass setting will be Howell's Colreg, and we'll also have it from Bruckner and Elgar. So please do come along on Sunday if you're able at 10 o'clock, or if you're not able to be with us, then of course join us on the live stream on YouTube. Have a very good weekend.